On today's show, we are going to have a couple of discussions, and we're just going to pretty much talk about whatever we want to Disney-wise today. That's today on Traveling with the Mouse. Welcome, everyone, to episode 351 of Traveling with the Mouse. My name is John. I'm going to be your host for this week, and I am joined, as always, by Adam.
What's up, everybody?
And I had trouble finding another co-host this week, so we're going to kick it old school.
Yes. Jason's hit the Chris Rock stand-up tonight. That's what he said. He had to check it out.
Is that what it is?
But he's in Boston tonight.
I see.
Yep.
It was nice to see that everybody worked things out as far as the Oscars go. So.
Wait, did something happen this weekend? Because I keep hearing a lot about the Oscars.
Yeah. A lot of good jokes and memes came about from the Oscars.
Yes. If anything, the internet has something to do for a few days.
Yeah. I can, don't get me wrong. I can respect a man standing up for his wife. I feel like it was a little extreme.
Clearly.
In that particular case, but I feel like he's got a little bit of the whole, like, you know how Randy Savage used to treat Elizabeth type deal going on? I think he's got a little bit of that, like a little bit of the overprotectiveness.
Yeah. Well, he said that
to a
in
degree.
His speech that they allowed him to do after assaulting somebody. They allowed him to still have a speech and a standing ovation. Kind of weird. But I still like Will Smith I've always admired him as an actor and followed his career, but that was way over uncalled for, and he should have been removed from that. That just shouldn't have happened, and he should have been escorted out and not. I'm not saying he shouldn't have his Oscar, of course, but
right. I was just about to say that it marked a drop from what I saw in the ratings not long after, or like immediately after that incident.
Yeah.
As if they needed more, needed that to happen already, because the ratings haven't been good in a while.
Yeah.
But apparently when it came to his acceptance speech, that actually more people tuned in to watch it when I guess they heard he won, I guess because they expected more drama. I don't know.
They thought, maybe they thought Chris Rock would come back out or something,
Yeah, people are like, "Ooh, he won something." Oh, I got to hear what he's got to say about that.
Yeah, see what he would say. Which again, he didn't apologize to Chris Rock at all that night, which I clearly should have.
Not then. Well, he was still in the moment, I guess. But I can give him that much. He still should have said he still had an opportunity to say something at that point.
Yeah, he should have. Yeah, he didn't handle that well at all. But I was the only one of the three of us that was actually that saw it live, I think, because it was so bizarre and shocking that I put it out on our group chat, and it was like, you guys have to see this, because I was like, I thought it was everybody thought it was a joke to start with, or he didn't really do it, but then it was like, wait, did we really see that? Did it really happen? And it was weird to see it live.
Yeah, I would say whenever you brought it to my attention, though, and I look at it, I was looking at that, still questioning. I'm like, because Will is, he's a comedian as well, obviously. So he a lot of times he is doing stuff like playing the straight man to be funny type deal. I had a little trouble at first to figure out whether or not he was this was like part of the show, or if it was something that they did to, it was difficult to figure out at first.
Yeah. Even Chris Rock was obviously confused because he was kind of laughing when he was coming up there. Oh, okay, like thought it was gonna do something silly, but he just slapped him.
He handled it. He handled it very well.
He handled it really so well, like a pro, man. Like he shook it right off and just went right back to the show. And I'm like, dang, even made another joke. I'm just like,
he's like Will Smith just slapped the he's what he said. Out of me.
I mean, I gotta say, like, Chris Rock, my admiration for him went way up because he handled that so well.
I was like, he didn't miss a beat. He was very professional when it was all said and done. But
and he definitely could have. He maybe even should have handled that differently too. But anyway,
we spent too much time on this.
Encanto did win Best Animated Film. I was going to say that. The song didn't win, though.
Dos Orequitos.
Yeah. Did not win Best Song, though. It was Billie Eilish for the Bond theme song won No Time to Die, which is a good song, too, but I would have thought Encanto would have cleaned that one up too. So just to bring it back to Disney.
I never understand. I mean, I guess when it comes to Oscars, I'm really surprised that I guess this is more of a sign of the times that they were able to get Encanto in for this year, especially since it just was released in November. Used to, that would be like a whole another year before they would be nominated for something.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what it used to be with films.
Yeah, right. As long as you can get it in by the end of the year, you're good. Yeah, as far as this nowadays. Yeah.
The thing is, I don't think did they not have time to figure out that it should have been We Don't Talk About Bruno that would have been the featured song that should have been.
Yeah, I think they didn't realize how popular that was going to be until after it was already submitted, I'm sure.
Then again, the Academy has a way of they always nominate stuff that's just the weirdest stuff to me. So I don't.
It's usually the most serious. And actually, I heard Lin-Manuel Miranda being interviewed somewhere saying that even he was caught off guard by We Don't Talk About Bruno being the hit because it's usually not the ensemble song. It's usually the solo, like the Let It Go kind of
but surely
ballad song that makes the hit,
Look, from the moment that movie was released, though, the catchiest song was without question. We Don't Talk About Bruno. Yeah. Without question. It was the one that stood out from the beginning. So,
yeah. Well, you should have been on the committee for nominating the song, then.
I'm sure I would have my vote would have mattered.
One last Oscars thing. I know we've talked a lot about the Oscars. The live performance of We Don't Talk About Bruno was very odd to me because it started out normal and then the song just went off the rails and it wasn't even the song anymore when Megan Thee Stallion showed up, which was, it was fine, but it wasn't the song anymore. And I'm like, okay, why did they just didn't finish the song. I was like, okay.
All right.
It was weird. So
yeah,
I guess technically it was the first live performance of We Don't Talk About Bruno, but it was only like the first verse. And then it just sort of went in a very different direction.
Yeah.
But anyway, that happened as well.
Well, I was going to mention because Disney actually won 6 that night.
What else did they win?
Cruella won for Best Costume.
That's right. I remember that. I did see that.
West Side Story. Let's see.
Right. Which is technically Disney now, right?
Yeah, it is because it's
on Disney Plus.
Right. And it was nominated for 7.
I know Best Supporting Actress won.
Yeah, that's the one it actually won. It only won 1 out of the 7 it was nominated for.
Yeah.
The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which is actually a Fox product, but of course that's Disney now.
Acquired Disney production now. I
find this a little bit, it's almost like a joke to me in a way, but it won for Best Hair and Makeup.
Well, if you're going to do Tammy Faye Baker, you got to have great makeup, I guess. A lot of it. Lots of it.
So, but anyway, that's streaming now on Disney Plus. Plug.
Sense.
I don't know why I plugged that, but okay. Summer of Soul, which is one I don't remember actually. It says or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised. That's also a Fox.
Okay. So that was the one that.
Well, Searchlight.
Yeah, that was Questlove's documentary.
Yeah.
Which was the one that Chris Rock was presenting when that happened. Yeah. So unfortunately, he got overshadowed by that incident. So. Congrats to him.
First win for Best Documentary is what that one got. So there you go. That takes care of that. So there is actually a good bit of cruise news, though, in case you haven't heard. Have you heard about this? Of course, the Disney Wish has Disney Wish has now departed the German shipyard ahead of its inaugural sailing that's coming up.
Nice.
So we got that.
It's on the way.
Just so happens that I believe it was today. Yeah, today the CDC has lifted their COVID-19 risk advisory for cruise ships.
Yes. I wonder if this will increase bookings immediately.
It probably would. It's probably also going to decrease the discounts, unfortunately. But
right. I guess I should say I booked a cruise kind of on a whim the other day.
I was going to say, you realized it the next day that you actually booked a cruise. You weren't sure.
Sort of, yes. I was aware, but
I know. It was a joke.
Inside joke. You have to be there.
Doing this, though, I do find it hard to believe that Disney's going to just totally abandon what they're currently doing so soon. But, with the CDC giving the green light, I would gotta feel it's probably going to come sooner rather than later.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So I bring that up to say a couple of things. Yes, in June, I should be going on my first cruise. So you guys are the cruise veterans here, and so that's a whole episode coming up of both of you guys hopefully helping me get my sea legs.
We should most definitely talk about cruises again. Well, we're kind of doing it now, but
we don't talk about cruises enough. The second thing is, they are talking about this subvariant of Omicron being, the next wave potentially. So is any of this stuff going to get rolled back because of a potential wave in the next, 2 or 3 weeks might happen? Who knows?
Well, my understanding at this point anyway is they also expect the wave to be relatively mild, and just like the last things. So,
well, because literally almost everybody got Omicron, and so you have some sort of protection from this subvariant because it's a variant of the Omicron. So I'm hoping that the wave will be much smaller than what Omicron was, because, man, Omicron was huge.
Yeah. I think we've reached a point where even when people are getting it now, they don't even know that they have it in some cases, or a lot of cases, and they don't even go to the doctor based on their symptoms anymore. I don't think. It depends on how severe.
Yeah, I feel like post Omicron, everything has shifted, and it's just like, you know what, we're just dealing with it no matter what now. Because it was
we can't shut everything down forever.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have these testing lines and the things that we had before, even if there is a wave.
Yeah. So that's pretty big news for the cruising industry.
Yeah.
It might affect how your experience goes.
It could. I think, too, everyone's pushing for the airlines to drop the mask mandate in a few weeks. I think that mandate expires April 18th, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see if they extend it or let it just fall away and you won't even have to wear masks on airplanes anymore. So that would be interesting.
Yeah. I got to say, though, I know you had not done the cruising yet. Once you do it, you're going to kind of be bitten by the bug to want to do it again. Right. I guarantee you will.
Yeah, the lady on the phone told me that. She was like, oh, I can't. Once you do it once, you're going to be hooked. I'm like, okay.
You're gonna do it multiple times even if it's even if it's not as many as some. Right. You're still going to do it multiple times because Jason's work, that would be his third, right?
Yeah, it's already his third. Yeah. This is his third now.
I should have already been on my fifth at this point, but then COVID happened, and then the cruise never happened.
Well, I probably would have already done 1 or 2 by now, too, just because of, a couple of different things. Every time I had almost booked one, something would come up where I couldn't do it. So we had a kid. That was one reason. And then COVID hit. That was another one. We were about to go on one. And several things have stopped me. And this is finally, fingers crossed, actually going to happen. So
going to pull together. Okay. Let's see. Talking about some things coming back. Hoopty-Doo is scheduled to come back June the 23rd.
I'm excited. They're holding auditions. I heard that as well. And so, I actually might do this. I'm toying the idea of doing it in late June, which would be like a week after it debuts again, which I think, June 23rd it said. And you can book starting like May 19th or something like that. I forgot what the date was, but May 20th, maybe, I forgot. The last time I went and saw it, I had a great time. I don't think everybody I was with loved it as much as I did. But unless they raise the price, I think the price is incredibly reasonable for the entertainment you get, the amount of food you can get, and drinks are included, I should say, from the menu. Where can you get that for $65 per person? It's incredible.
It's not bottomless, though, is it, or is it?
It is.
The only, it is bottomless? Okay.
So I should say, yes, you can get unlimited. The thing is, they only come around 2 or 3 times, the servers. So the first time I ordered, I was like, okay, I'll order again. They don't come around until halfway through the show again. So I ordered 2 the second time so that I could get, because then they come and bring dessert, and it's too late at that point. So you just double up. Anyway.
I will say, the last iteration of the Hoopty-Doo I have not seen in person, but they had to change some songs copyright-wise.
Right.
Was the main thing that they changed when they changed it from their original show, which to me that does take a little bit away from it because I was used to those songs. But it isn't. I mean, the spirit of the show is still the same.
Yeah.
It's basically the same script, but they had to change some songs, basically.
Yeah. The fact that it's been around for nearly 50 years. I mean, I think it was 1974. Now that Spirit of Aloha is gone forever, this is like the last one of like the really old school days, you know, that it sort of brings back that vibe of the old school kind of Disney world that we grew up with. So I like it in the same way that I like Country Bear Jamboree. You know, it's classic. I don't ever want it to go away. I just want it to always be there. So I like it. I'm glad it's coming back. I was a little worried because it is a trek to get there. It's not like the easiest show to get to, for one. And takes a lot of time out of your day to do it. So
true. It's worth it, though.
Yeah, I think so.
So speaking of things that are coming back, just today it was announced that normal character meet and greets are going to be coming back to the resorts and the cruise line beginning April the 18th.
Very cool.
Interesting because, like, I guess, you know how we talked about how, like, Universal would say something and then all of a sudden then Disney's following suit, I guess, even though I think because Universal was trying to, like, beat them to the punch, but they started doing hugs and high fives, things like that to their character meet and greets. And so then it's like Disney announces, well, we're going to bring ours back April the 18th, you know.
Right.
But it seemed like always Universal was just trying to get that jab in, try to get it just in time before Disney announced something. This happened a lot of times throughout COVID. But, you know, it's funny.
You know what I just realized, though? I'm going to miss this by one day because I'm going to be there the Easter weekend and I'm leaving Easter Sunday, so I will miss this by one day.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
One day I'll miss this. Oh, well. That's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But, alas, I'll be back, so.
Of course.
We'll always be back.
The last thing I think that I have here in the returning category
Yeah.
is Disney looking to rehire laid-off minivan drivers for return of service. Something that we weren't sure was going to come back because they supposedly sold the fleet.
That's what they said back in 2020.
Yeah.
They said that, yeah.
Yeah, unless they're just redoing the vehicles altogether. I don't know.
Right.
But, yeah, that was what the story was back then, was that they sold the fleet. But one thing that was always in the app is how it says temporarily unavailable anytime you saw the minivan service in the app or on My Disney Experience at all.
Yeah.
It always said temporarily unavailable, so
yeah,
we kind of felt like it was going to be coming back the whole time. So
I guess my only thought is are they going to increase the price even more because it was already like ridiculously expensive to use it. Although it was pretty nice.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as some things.
Right.
You could definitely do a regular Uber or something, or even a regular Lyft for less.
I would say too, I always want something like this to be here because you never know when you'll end up in a situation where you'd like to have the ride to someplace where you don't have to drive yourself or whatever, and you don't want to wait on a bus or stuff like that. So I like having this as an option so that, if we're in a state of being where we are not able to drive or something, I like having the option to be able to, have a minivan versus waiting on a bus or something.
Yeah, and it pulls up to the front better than some buses, depending on which park. Right. I think you get a better drop off at, say, Epcot for sure, because the buses are off to the side. Things like that. All right.
One story that I didn't want to forget about, the Connections eatery. What is it? Connections?
Yeah.
Quick service place.
Yeah, it's a quick service, and then there's also like a coffee bar, I guess, whatever. Add you like to it, yeah.
Right. But Zach Ridley, of course, shared on his social media that some of the artwork, and they used like Walt's original drawing of Epcot, or the Disney World property, but including Epcot. I thought that was a really cool touch that they're incorporating that. I can't wait to see that in person. That's going to be cool.
Not that it started out that way, but they're at least adding some touches like that because they just continue to get further and further away from the original vision.
That's right.
as they go forward. But at least they're acknowledging that it once was something different.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah. It looks cool, though. I'm all for it.
Talking about a park that's kind of, I know they've mixed it in with the thing, but it's on the verge of losing its original spirit even because of the IP that's all being used now. Grand Fiesta Tour is a favorite, yes, but it's incorporating Disney into the pavilion, right? It was incorporating characters.
Yep.
Obviously, Ratatouille is incorporating characters into the existing country because it was set in France.
Right.
You already had Nemo going to the seas. They're incorporating Disney intellectual properties
into all the things that weren't before, yeah.
But it was not even part of the revised Epcot that it became.
Right.
It still was intended to become kind of like a mixture of like a future world like a World's Fair, and then World Showcase, obviously, to show off existing countries.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if, I'm trying to think of what IP they could inject into the land that would even kind of make sense. Cause
gosh, dude, why would you want to go and give ideas for this?
Right.
Please
Maybe
stop.
The land featuring Tafiti. I don't know. Isn't she like made of like the earth or something? Or creates life, right?
I think that's more Hawaiian folklore.
Well, yes, but what I'm saying is right outside of the land is going to be the Journey of Water, right?
So gotcha.
Wouldn't that make sense to flow into the land and you have Tafiti? I don't know.
I guess it could.
I was just trying to... It's the first thing that came to our mind. I don't know.
So I know we talked not too long ago about the Grand having some changes, the Grand Floridian, but it's apparently going to be a little more extensive. It's going to receive a major remodel to the entire hotel. That's what they call modernizing it.
Yeah.
I was like, why do you need to modernize the Grand Floridian? I thought that was the whole point of it, to be Victorian style.
Right. Modern in the sense of the wood floors and the same kind of style as all the other hotels, which, I like it. I like the style, so. More storage underneath the bed and things like that. And,
right.
Yeah. Easier to clean the rooms, which I think is another reason why they go with the wood floors versus the carpeting. I like it. I think it looks good.
So apparently all of the rooms are going to get this, though. It's not, because first they were thinking it was just DVC rooms, but there won't be any different.
Right.
As far as the style, I should say. There'll be some differences, but
because they're converting the big Pine Key into those studios.
Another one thing that I thought was interesting is we got to look at inside the queue for Guardians this week. Did you get a chance to see that? The first look inside?
I saw the video. It looks pretty cool.
The Galaxarium, as it was called.
Right.
I'm looking at this and I'm trying to think. I was trying to get my bearings, as far as the Universe of Energy attraction went. And I honestly think that the way that circles right there, I feel like this section was right there in the middle of the old second theater at the end of the ride. I really feel like that's where that section is. Because once upon a time, like right there in the middle of that, if I'm not mistaken, there was, for the original attraction anyway, not the Ellen one, there was a screen there in the middle where that is. But of course, there's nothing of it left today, but it looks like that same general area. I could be wrong, of course, because I can't see the whole thing yet. But
right, because I thought they just gutted the whole building anyway. But I guess technically it could be in.
Well, they could use some pieces of it. It's hard to tell where you are a lot of times in Runaway Railway, but it's the same room. They just, like you say, they gutted the whole thing. So I'm sure there's maybe a wall or two that they did leave up, but as far as where you go and far as where you are in comparison to what it was in the Great Movie Ride is really hard to tell. Mm-hmm. So I have come across a map that tells you, where each one was, which is kind of cool to follow if you want to do that.
I saw that story too about media previews are going to be the first week of May.
And when they say media, they mean bloggers?
Yeah, basically.
Pretty
anybody
much.
Who has a large enough following. So if you're listening to this, we need to multiply our audience by 1,000% in order to get an invite. So tell all your friends.
Yeah, we're not at that level, but that's okay. We could go to the AP preview.
Right. So this is what I'm saying is the first week of May. That leaves 3 additional weeks for pass holder previews or DVC or any other kind of potential preview, which, we know based on that leak that it's probably going to be Memorial Day weekend. Unless that guy was wrong, the guy that leaked it.
Unless Zach Ridley is wrong, isn't he the one?
No, I think it was somebody who was.
I thought it was Zach Ridley. But
No, it wasn't Zach. It was somebody else. It was like an executive guy though, or something. And he leaked it by accident, and then deleted his post and reposted it. It's coming soon. But he said Memorial Day weekend the first time, and then had to backtrack that. But I think it's pretty safe to say that's going to happen at this point. I think we're going to hear an announcement very soon, if that's the case, about booking AP previews, if that's going to happen. So we got to be on the lookout for this.
On the lookout for it, yes.
Yeah, I think it'll happen.
This is one that I found almost comical. It's sad at almost comical and sad at the same time. So Disney's added a statement, right, about estimating guests could get to 2 or 3 lightning lanes in a day. Is pretty much what it says. Let me just read this. It says Disney Genie Plus Lightning Lane entrance. It says when you take your day to the next level by purchasing Disney Genie Plus service, you may choose the next available arrival window for Lightning Lane entrances at select attractions and entertainment. This unique service lets you use our new Lightning Lane entrance at select attractions and experiences at the Walt Disney World theme parks. On average, guests can enter 2 to 3 attractions or experiences per day using the Lightning Lane entrance if the first selection is made early in the day.
Wow.
Right. If the first selection is made. Yeah. And then, of course, at the end it says you can enjoy Disney Genie Plus Lightning Lane entrance once per day. If you'd like to re-ride an attraction or see a certain show again within the same day, you are welcome to use our regular standby line.
Mm-hmm. So I hate to sound like a broken record, but with FastPass Plus, you could pick 3 in advance. Guaranteed for free, or I should say included with your ticket price. This is an extra fee on top of your ticket on the day you're going, which you have to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, buy your Genie Plus, then make your first selection. Then you might get 2 or 3. The average guest is going to get 2 or 3 for an extra fee if they book first thing in the morning. Wow.
That's kind of how they put it. Which they're not far off from the truth.
Yeah.
They're not far off from the truth. I started to say you were guaranteed your 3. I guess you were guaranteed 3. You just weren't guaranteed to get the 3 that you wanted necessarily, but you were going to get 3 of some kind right off the bat. Yeah. And then you were going to get more than that if you just knew the fact that you could choose more after that, right?
Right. I got way more than 3 on my Magic Kingdom day that I used it for, but I had to fight to get all 3. I had to really fight to get 10 or however many I got. It was probably around 10. I had to really fight to get them, and it was not fun. So,
and we know from using the FastPass Plus in the challenge world anyway. I mean, you could do 27 to 30 easy in a day.
Yeah, you could. Well, in the 20s.
I'm going to say easy. Yeah, I shouldn't say it that way.
But you could get them. But we knew how to do it. And you could easily get 20
possible to do that many fast passes in one day. That's my point.
20 is probably the sweet spot of what you would want in a day, yeah.
My point was it could be done if you really wanted to.
It could be easily done compared to what Genie Plus is.
Yeah, I don't know. What's the most anybody's reported being able to get in Genie Plus? I mean,
I'm sure somebody's. If you're by yourself, you've got a much more chance. I'm pulling for at least 4, when I'm doing it, so it's a lot harder than if you're by yourself, I think. So, by yourself, I'm sure you could get at least 15 or 20 a day still.
But truthfully, the biggest issue, if they could just fix this would be better for this system, is a time being available when you actually pick it. Like you choose a time, and the time is there by the time you actually get to finalize it. Instead of like you choose a time, and at the time it shows you next is
it just
like
shifts
5 hours later.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a
and
big
to be
problem.
able to modify, that's the biggest one.
And the thing is, it's not like they don't know how to do this. They did it before.
I know.
The Fast
right.
Pass
This
Plus
isn't
system.
brand new.
So how do you not know how to incorporate this to make this work? Because there had to have been some sort of like time delay or something like that in the original system, right? Or something where like when you have a time selected, it holds it for, I don't know, so many seconds or even a minute maybe.
Right.
You know, something like that. Similar to what it does when you do have a dining time, right? Similar to that system.
Yeah.
You know,
put
once
it back
you have
in
it
the pool if you don't get it. Or if you don't book it in time, whatever, yeah.
Once you've chosen the time and you're setting your stuff up, I mean, it's yours for that length of time.
Right. It should hold it minimum amount of time that it would take you to book it, yeah.
Right. Same way it should be with this. I mean, I get that we're doing it all on the same day, but still.
I know.
It should be the same.
You sound like a broken record.
We really do.
It's that annoying.
Yeah. If they could just fix that, it would be easier on more people, truthfully. That should be top priority of fixes. If anyone out there that works for Disney listens to us that actually can do something about that, please, by all means, make that your top priority.
Right. Besides what they are doing, which is trying to lower the expectations of what you can get out of it.
Well, that's an easy fix right there. You know, I guess what was the other thing?
The one about Reedy Creek Improvement District. Chapek hasn't handled this situation very well with Florida state government, and so now they're I would call this probably a threat to repeal the Reedy Creek Improvement District's governing powers that Disney World has, where they can kind of do their own thing, so they don't do their own construction permits, govern themselves versus having to go through the county or the state or whatever when they do certain things. So,
right. Well, without trying to get in this show being too political by any means, I think we all know that there is a bill out there that has had some controversy surrounding it.
Don't say gay bill. Yeah.
Why was it like after it was passed, did this seem to like all of a sudden make a big deal? Why wasn't something said more prior to, is my thing?
Because Chapek is an idiot.
Well, I'm not even just talking about on Disney's behalf. I'm talking about on anybody.
A lot of people were ringing the alarm bells, but Disney was staying out of it. I think it became on our radar because of Disney, but it was out there way before the Disney stuff hit the news.
I don't know if I were CEO of a company that I would say it the way he did. And Chapek had said something along the lines of, you know, it's not something that they could do. He's right. I have never known in history of all the major corporations in America to be able to legitimately change something governing wise. Yeah. They have influences. They have people with influences that they, you know, again, that's one of the reasons they made donations. They made donations to both Republicans and Democrats because you want to have some influence. They probably have some people who they still have influence with now, which would probably help with the Reedy Creek thing.
Right. They're wanting to keep that intact, so they have their own interests here. Disney does. That's why they did what they did. But I think the bigger issue is how Chapek handled it and how... And again, we don't know how Iger would have handled it because Iger didn't handle it. But I think Iger was better at relationships than Chapek is, and that's pretty apparent with several things that have happened in the news. One, there was an ABC News story that came out in 2020 or 2021 about David Muir and George Stephanopoulos had a tiff about, you know, who's the head guy at ABC News. And Iger was the one that repaired that relationship and sort of fixed it. And we didn't really hear much about it because Iger did his job well, right? He's good at relationships. Whereas they're so annoyed at Chapek now that they're threatening to repeal the Reedy Creek stuff because they're just mad at him. So I think Iger, while nothing probably would have changed politically, I think he would have handled it better in the press. He would have handled it better with them personally. And this story wouldn't have been what it is had Iger been the CEO. That's just my take on it, is I think the way Chapek has handled it is he tried to stay out of it, and then he tried to jump into it when it was too late. So he screwed up. How long has it been now? 3 weeks into the news cycle, and it's still a thing. And so, this is... this wouldn't have happened with Iger. I'm just saying, nothing like this did. Think about the 2-year-old that got attacked by an alligator and died at the Grand Floridian beach. Like, that could have derailed Iger completely but in his book, he talks about how he handled it, and he handled it. Mm-hmm. He personally talked to the family. He was in Shanghai when that happened, and he called. It was like 12-hour time difference, and he handled it. Calling the guy and just speaking from the heart versus trying to think about the PR mess that might happen as a result of this. And he put, like, the next day they had fences out, signs out. They covered the entire beaches with these rocks, and, immediately action took place. And so, to me, that's the difference between Iger and Chapek. But,
something that's happened a lot in corporate America, I guess, in general, with a lot of businesses in modern times, it's been documented. Walt, back when he first started, he insisted that management regularly visit the parks to see it through the eyes of the guests.
He was at Disneyland all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. And they walked through the park. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They didn't go there like this is my job type thing, which it was, but I mean, they didn't go there like just going to be overlords or what have you over some situation or something, or look at it from a distance. They actually went through the way the guests. That was the intention, was they want upper management to experience what the guests are experiencing, so they can handle it properly, right? You have that disconnect now with a lot of companies, that there is the people at the top have no idea about what's going on in the thick of things, like where the action's happening,
ground level. Yeah,
and it doesn't appear to be, from what I've heard now, a requirement or anything of current management in Disney to, like, I've heard stories of managers that they don't even visit. They don't even go unless it's for something job related.
Right. I think, and again, I could be completely wrong, but it looks as though Toy Story Land is a good example of people in California designing a land in a climate and area that no one had ever visited, probably, because if you've set foot in Florida for 10 minutes, you know that land needed more shade and was just like, that was not a consideration, and it should have been a consideration of the theming. So anyway, I think that's a good example of, For one, because of the rain. That's the other thing. If you're in Toy Story Land, it starts raining, where are you going to go?
Okay, here's the perspective. This is something we've discussed here recently too. The perspective from management is, okay, if we do, say, dining, give an example of how they changed California Grill to a pre-fee. If we give pre-fee, it gives people, we have a set price for the experience. People should still get relatively the same experience, should be happy with it. We make our money. We know how much we're going to make specifically. There you go. I mean, that from the eyes of someone looking at just the numbers, that looks good.
Right. Because they know they're going to make the money. It sells out every night, of course.
From the perspective of a guest, though, they're having choices taken away. Yep. They're having the freedom to, say, for instance, if they're going with kids, like I just griped about several places, that their kids are not, it's not justifiable.
Not paying $55 a person for kid, or whatever it was. $50
for a 3-year-old.
Yes.
They start this price at 3 years old that you have to pay. Yeah, $40 to $50.
Whatever it was.
Depending on where you are. That's what I'm saying, because there's a couple of dinings.
Yeah.
If you're going to a family style or a buffet, it is, you are totally leaving money on the table if you go with a kid.
Yeah. Like I said, I canceled California Grill. I think I said that last week when we were doing the bracket. I canceled it. I had one, and when I saw the prefix menu, I'm like, nah, I'm not paying that for my 2 kids to not eat anything and like pay $100 for them to eat nothing. No.
Right. See, when it comes to something like that, it's not even about affordability. It's about value. Yeah. It's about, there is no way I can see that my kid is going to eat $40 to $50 worth of food at your restaurant.
Yeah. Like, and that's the thing. From a dollars and cents perspective, they're going to make more money than they did without the prefix menu, and they're trying to take advantage of the 50th anniversary being, like, oh, this is a special thing for the 50th. But from the guest satisfaction and guest experience perspective, it is a downgrade. Because I again, a year ago, California Grill was my favorite place to be at Walt Disney World. And a year later, I don't know, I'm not going. Because I don't want that limitation.
And there are several, I can't think of them right off the top of my head, but there are several dining experiences that have changed to something like this, that when I go to look at it, I'm like, there's the reason I don't want to go there is because it's a pre-fee menu, or because there's a set, okay, my kid's going to have to be this price no matter what.
Right. And I guess they're trying to limit people who, like Space 220, the thought was, oh, you're going to go through this whole experience and you're going to buy an appetizer and then leave and spend $20 and you're done. So they're forcing you to pay for the experience, where I think California Grill is another example where most people who are going to come to watch the fireworks on the balcony, or, because you can come back, even if you dined there at all, you can come back later and watch it. So I think the thought there is, let's make them pay for what they're actually coming here for versus, just giving them a great dining experience.
Yeah. There's been a couple of the experiences where people said that they prefix that actually improved the experience. I want to say, wasn't it, at least once upon a time, wasn't it Be Our Guest when they went to prefix it? Some people like that, the way that one was.
I think that was the issue there, was they needed to shrink that menu down and make the fewer items and make them better quality items, because it just wasn't the best. Like, lunch was the better value back then, but now dinner is the better value, because lunch and dinner are the same price. It's the same price all day. So it's kind of stupid to go and pay $60 for lunch or whatever it is. Yeah, it's stupid.
I mean, in my perspective, just because something's popular nowadays, it definitely doesn't mean that that's someplace you should go.
No.
I mean,
yeah, it used to be.
Yeah,
but
Be Our Guest still has a good bit of popularity, but haven't been there. And I'm like,
no, it's not worth the price they're charging you.
Yeah, I mean,
for
you're
the
paying.
Prefix.
You're paying for an environment.
Yeah.
And really, only one of the environments is any good.
Yeah.
One of the three environments.
Right. And if you've seen the video from Tokyo of the ride, that is 1,000 times better than Be Our Guest looks. Even the ballroom, they have the same ballroom in the ride, and it's light years better than Be Our Guest.
Yeah.
At Magic Kingdom. So yeah, it's not worth it.
I came across something on social media here not too long ago, and I wish I could remember which ones. It's like which coaster would you cut or something like that.
Okay.
If it had like 6 of them up there. I know it was like Slinky Dog, Rock and Roller Coaster, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I can't remember what all was on there now, but I knew that when I looked at them, I was like, my obvious choice was Seven Dwarfs Mine Train,
right,
for me, and I'm like, and it's popular. It is the individual lightning lane at Magic Kingdom, right?
For now, yes. Mm-hmm.
I did it this last time again, like I said, because my kids never done it, and of course they had fun on it.
Yeah.
But when I look at the wait time versus the attraction itself, I very rarely can look at that and say I would want to wait that long for this attraction.
Wait, no, not even. Yeah.
Nor would I want to pay $12 Lightning Lane, truthfully. Even though I did it once already, I don't really see myself doing that again personally, but...
Yeah. What's funny is Slinky Dog typically has about the same wait, but I would wait longer for Slinky Dog. For one, it's a better ride, of course.
Especially if it had a canopy outside.
Yeah. Right.
The other part. Well, other than the close queue, but I'm talking about... Well, they've done better with it. They have mostly shaded.
Yeah. They've gotten better at it, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's something about... Slinky Dog is very similar, style, but it's much better. A little bit longer, I would say, too, than Mine Train. But it's just... I don't think it's just theming either. I think it's just... I don't know. It's better.
It's a better ride.
Yeah, all around.
It's not intense, but it's more intense than Mine Train.
That's true.
Mine Train is just like, okay, the cars swing, you do a couple of helixes, I guess, like back and forth, pretty much almost. Mm-hmm. That's about all it does. It's like you're a few sways back and forth.
Right.
Then you go to the dark ride part. Then you go up the hill. You go down, and another few sways back and forth.
Right. The most fun part is when you get to the mine itself, and then you can sway the car. Try to get it to sway as much as you can.
Yeah. Well, it automatically does it when you first come in because it just came off of a curve or whatever.
Right. But I always try to keep it going, just rocking back and forth to see how much I can swing it.
But I mean, when I like I said, that time when I came to this realization is when I had back when FastPass was still there, and I had the time that I rode it back to back, right? I rode it once with my wife and once with my mother.
Right.
By using Maddie's Magic Band.
Right. Yeah, I think we've all done that. So
yeah. But I mean, I rode it back to back, and I was like, after riding it back to back, I was like, yeah, this ride's not really that good.
Yeah.
So that's why I came to the realization after riding it twice in a row. I guess ride's really not that good.
Yes, you know what I guess it is too is Magic Kingdom. You've got Space Mountain and Big Thunder, which are both far better coasters, and you're about to have Tron, which is also going to be a way better coaster. So it's going to be like the the fourth best coaster at Magic Kingdom.
Well, I mean, I got to be honest. If I'm talking about just like overall fun riding the ride, I would even put Barnstormer ahead of Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Okay, I don't know if I go that far, but okay.
I mean,
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
But, I mean, as far as you can get on Barnstormer a lot faster, sure.
You could ride it several times.
Yeah, you could probably ride it 5 times, yeah.
But I mean, I guess my thing is, all right, we know it's a hybrid, right? But the dark ride part of it is a little too short for me to even consider that being, because I mean, I can, what is it? It's like a minute. I mean, that you're in there. It's not very long.
Maybe not even that long. It's probably more like 30, 35 seconds. I don't know. Yeah, not long.
But yeah, I mean, I know it feels like we just turned into a gripe session over that, but I mean, it's not that great.
Well, yeah, here's an interesting scenario then. When Tron opens in, I don't know, the end of the year, next year, whenever it opens, how much of an impact is that going to have on Mine Train? And which I'm sure it'll drop from being the paid, unless they move it to, if they go back to having the 2 paid per park, then it'll probably be the second paid one. But then as far as like wait time, do we think it'll drop to say a 45-minute wait on average versus the hour to hour and a half it gets now?
Well, here's a few questions that are in limbo, I guess we'll say. First of all, are they ever going to go back to the 2 individual lightning lanes? I think it's better without it. I hope that they continue with just the 1.
Agreed.
That is one improvement of Genie Plus thus far.
I think they'll make more money, honestly, too, on doing it that way.
Well, people are going to feel like they're getting more of a value whenever they have more options for regular Genie Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about it, you're paying $15 and that's it, right, per person, right? Mm-hmm. So per person, let's just say you get 3 rides in, you're paying $5 a ride. People are going to be okay with that compared to, I have to pay $12 a piece, we'll just say whatever, for Space and Mine Train like the way it was. They're not going to feel like they're getting their money's worth out of it as much. At least this way they feel like they're getting their money's worth a little better.
Right.
Here's the other question is, are they ever going to bring boarding groups back? I guess we'll find out with Guardians.
Right.
But that worked for Rise for a long period of time. Yeah. They could use it today if they wanted to, but they had to go to regular queue at some point, right? Mm-hmm. Ratatouille didn't even need it, truthfully, in the beginning, but they did it for a while because it was new, and obviously that one went away a lot faster than Rise ever did.
That's for sure, yeah.
Are they even going to bother doing that in the future? Because the way I look at that right now is I feel like they came up with the whole boarding group thing just to try to slight Universal and their huge wait times they had with Hagrid's. And they came up with the boarding group so they didn't have that type of publicity. Even though the boarding groups did give them some negativity, it didn't really get it from the press.
Maybe not as bad, as it could have been. If they had like 6-hour waits for Rise, it would have been a disaster compared to people being upset about not getting a group,
Rise is still the least reliable attraction in all of Walt Disney World.
And Test Track is at Disney World.
Yeah, and this is including, Test Track is in the same realm. Test Track's pretty unreliable. It's been, but like I said, we've gotten used to Test Track's reliability because it's been the same story since 1999.
Right, for over 20 years now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like, it's a normal thing. It's still better than Rise, its reliability is.
Probably.
And not only that, it doesn't, I mean, Test Track can have a long line, but the experience itself is not so long that if something goes wrong and you have to start all over again or whatever you got to do, you're not, it's almost like a video game whenever you would get all this way and then you couldn't get over this one hump and you die and you have to go all the way back to the beginning when they used to do that.
Right.
And you're just
right.
like, you're right, all right,
no
I quit
save,
for today.
Right. No spot. Yeah. No return.
Like there was back when those things, like they had to go all the way. It's all or nothing.
Yeah. Kids, remember, kids out there don't know this, but yeah, back in the 80s and 90s, you didn't have save games. You just had to play the entire game through in one sitting.
Yeah, once upon a time, it was very demoralizing whenever you would get to the end of a game and then lose at the last level or something like that.
Exactly.
If you wanted to learn how to deal with defeat, that was the way to do it.
Right.
Learn how to deal with perseverance. That was how I was taught perseverance right there.
Exactly.
It was by the NES.
Yeah, for sure. NES. Yeah, Super Nintendo started out that way, but then eventually you would get the save. Like,
right.
Yeah, a lot of them had or codes you would enter anyway.
Well, Super Mario World had saves. It had saves to a degree, remember?
Yeah, and you could basically get unlimited lives in that one.
Oh, yeah, when it was all said and done, that thing was, like, ridiculous as far as the lives if you knew what to do or doing.
Right, yeah. Anyway.
That's a little off track, but... Yeah. We ended up going off on a little bit of a rant, but it became a discussion.
I'd say overall we kept it pretty positive, right?
For the most part, we can.
Food and Wine Festival starts July 14th. So there's like a week between...
festivals?
Festival. I think, July 4... What is it? Right after July 4th or right before July 4th is when the Flower and Garden ends. Maybe it's July 5th. I forgot what day, but...
What exactly is the difference between the booths? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there is, but I haven't been there enough to know, I guess, to the different festivals.
Yeah, there's usually a lot more for Food and Wine. It's obviously the biggest one, but they're all different, so.
It still just blows my mind saying Food and Wine starts in July.
Yeah. Well, it's weird to say Flower and Garden ends in July nowadays.
Yeah.
You think of spring when you think of Flower and Garden, and now it stretches into summer.
Back in the day, because we typically took trips right after school was out, we were there during Flower and Garden quite frequently, because that one's been around for quite a while. Of course, that was when Flower and Garden was truly just Flower and Garden. It didn't have
very, very little, if any, booth. Outdoor kitchens or whatever.
Didn't have any. It wasn't Flower and Wine or Festival of the Arts and Wine, or then there's the original. I mean, it's like everything they added alcohol to. Pretty much alcohol, booze, and food. Food and Wine became, I was like, Food and Wine and Art, or Food and Wine and Flowers. What else was there?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it's become now. But yeah, and then it goes on now from July until the November still? I mean, it used to just be like October until the end of September, I should say, until the second week or something like that, right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, November 19th now, which it used to be before that. Because it used to be you could barely plan a trip where you could work in Food and Wine, the Halloween party, and the first Christmas party. If you had like a week trip, you could like fit all three of those in. if you
timed it just right.
Right. But
now
nowadays,
you can probably do it easily.
Yeah, nowadays it doesn't matter. You can go whenever.
Food and Wine half the year almost.
Basically. Yeah, July 14th through November 19th. So... You can even go for your birthday.
I think it still stayed on until about my birthday, though, before, because I could have swear I remember seeing booths that time I did go on my birthday. So
I feel like it was...
I think the ending date's pretty normal. It's just the beginning date that's really kept getting earlier and earlier. Like the Halloween party. I'm surprised it's not in July yet.
Oh, jeebers. Yeah, the thing that annoys me about that is they have the pumpkins and decorations up in, like, August. It's like, what? Why are there pumpkins in August? There should not be pumpkins in August.
Pretty soon it's going to be hard to find regular Magic Kingdom because they're always going to have some sort of different decorations.
They should come up with a different, like a summer party rather than make it Halloween again. So you have 3 different types of parties that the vloggers will have to cover. So you guarantee to sell out the first night of all 3 of them.
When you said the word summer party, it reminded me of something we haven't mentioned yet that's coming back is H2O Glow Nights. It's coming back.
Yeah, Typhoon Lagoon, right?
Yeah. Yep, Typhoon Lagoon.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a water park in a while.
Yeah, me too.
I'm actually considering changing that when we go in June because we're going to be there for 5 nights.
Unless you added it to your pass, you'd have to buy the day tickets for Typhoon Lagoon, or would you go to Typhoon or Blizzard Beach?
I would probably go to Typhoon Lagoon, even though it's been even longer since I've been to Blizzard Beach, but overall Typhoon Lagoon's better.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can get discounted water park tickets with your AP.
Right.
Even though if you don't have it included, you can at least get pretty good discount if last time I remember.
Okay.
Something like 15% or something like that. I mean, it's pretty good. So I might consider doing it for that. I don't know. I actually would do Blizzard Beach just because it's been a while. I might consider that one. The only thing is, the main thing to go over there for is Summit Plummet, and I don't think anybody in my family would be doing that other than me, which I've done it before. Mm-hmm. That still was pretty amazing back in the time when I thought about it. It's like you're going 60 miles an hour. You're basically going straight. You're basically going straight down with nothing but you. That's like a free fall. It really is. It's like falling off the edge of that structure.
Right.
Is basically what you're doing.
Yeah, it looks cool, but I think I'm good. I don't know if I want to try that one.
Honestly, since we're brought up the subject of water parks, from what I've seen, the one I'd really like to do is Volcano Bay.
Yeah, it does look good. I will admit that. It does look good.
And, you mentioned cruise earlier. I got to kind of end on this. I've been looking at and wanting to do maybe the Wish at some point, maybe even later this year. I don't know. Might be next year. But I've been wanting to do the Wish just to get that ship in, and it's doing 3-night and 4-night cruises out of Port Canaveral, which is basically what the Dream is doing now.
Yeah.
Is yours that you're doing a 3 or a 4?
3.
Yours is a 3, so you're kind of doing similar to the Star Cruiser plus 1.
Right.
Experience.
Sure. Which ultimately was cheaper than doing the Star Cruiser.
Yes, I'm sure. I hear a lot of people talk about the price of the Star Cruiser and say that they think it's worth it. But I'm like, this is from this. Most of this is coming from the perspective of people who can easily afford it. It's not technically their money, aka the Diz. They paid for it, but the people who went, they didn't pay for it. Mm-hmm. Pete paid for it. You see what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
So in those situations, I would have a great time if someone else was buying.
Right. Sure, of course.
I would think the price point was fine if someone else is buying.
Yeah. And as much as I've tried, I am the only Star Wars fan in my family. I have tried. And nobody's on board with me on Star Wars. So I would be dragging my family on a miserable 2 days, very expensive trip. So the only way I could do it is if, say, the 3 of us went,
right,
and did it,
maybe did it once.
Right, which would not be as expensive for, per person for me if we're just paying for ourselves. And it's just, my family would hate it, every minute of it. And so I'm the only one that would enjoy it. And of course I wouldn't enjoy it because they would hate it. So I'd have to do it by myself or with other Star Wars people that would enjoy it,
And I know I'd kind of jumped ship, no pun intended.
Literally.
Jumped from a cruise ship to a Star Cruiser. And I'm going to go back to the cruise ship here in just a second, but I want to mention this. I got to thinking, Star Wars, the way they've handled it, Galaxy's Edge, doesn't matter if it's Galaxy's Edge or the Star Cruiser, they have basically determined, and they're right to a degree, that they can charge whatever they want for sometimes not even the best stuff. And the fan base is going to pay it, right?
Yeah, for now, yeah.
We discussed just last week about the price on the blue milk, the green and the blue milk, in comparison to other things you could possibly get.
$8.50 without alcohol.
And how the food there is, it's not like the worst food ever, but it's also, it's upcharged in comparison to some other places in the park. and the portions and the quality is not the best in the world. Yeah. I mean, now, and I know that Jason made the comment about here on the Star Cruiser, but I actually had heard from another review, right, that, he was just talking like the food was and he was basically saying that, there was a couple of things that were good, but he was saying, his comment, this is the way he put it, you're not going on this for the food. Mm-hmm. That's the way he put it. And his kid actually made the comment at the lunch buffet, because they're basically in the same dining room no matter what, right? At the lunch there, his kid made a comment. It was like, "Oh, this is like at school."
Oh, wow.
You see what I'm saying? Something about
That's
what
not
they
a great
had to
compliment.
do, like in line for it. I was like, okay.
Wow.
Now, I don't know how that's supposed to make you feel, but hopefully he wasn't discussing the quality of the food.
Yikes.
So, yeah.
I feel like the Star Cruiser is probably a higher level than Galaxy's Edge. But yeah, they've basically skimped on the quality and charging premium prices for it because it's new, it's popular. It goes back to the discussion we had earlier about California Grill and all those signature kind of things. They're extracting as much money as they can with as little quality as possible because of the popularity of it to this point. And so see, I think when it comes to the blue and green milk, I think that novelty is even worn off, because like the times I've been there, there's hardly no one at that stand. Yeah.
I mean, it has some people there occasionally, but it ain't nothing like it was.
My son wanted one once, and I was like, fine, I'll order you one. Gosh, it was not that long ago. And so I was like, fine, I'll mobile order it. I walked over there was nobody in line, and it was just sitting there waiting for me. I was like, oh, okay, well, all right.
I mean, I've noticed it. I was like, there's nobody going there. Yeah.
Yeah, but yet they keep the price high for whatever reason.
And Docking Bay 7, it's just, it's not worth it.
Nothing to write home about, yeah.
There's nothing I can just think of and say, oh, I got to go to Docking Bay 7 for this.
Katsaka's Kettle. Yeah. That's the best value you got right there. The popcorn and or Ronto roasters. That's where it's at.
Yeah. Okay, but anyway, back to the cruise, the regular cruise ship before I can wrap this up here.
Yep.
You're getting your feet wet for the first time.
Hopefully not on the ship, but yes, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
One thing I would say about that is I've done it both ways, arriving as early as possible, and then I've arrived like just before arrived. I guess that's the way. I don't know. I arrived like just before, pretty much time for it to sail. Almost
arrived. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I roved. I don't think so. I feel like I'm Maui right now. Smote, smitten.
You have arrived.
Smoten.
Yeah. Anyway, I know what you mean. Yep.
Yeah.
You showed up.
Yeah. I've been early, and then I've been, like I said, late. I feel like a little bit in between is probably the best. Like, say, maybe 1 or 2 o'clock is probably the best arrival time. But I don't know what you guys plan on doing. A lot of people think of, especially when they're doing a shorter cruise like that, they want to get there as soon as possible or choose a time as early as possible because they want to experience as much of the ship and
the time.
Get their money's worth. Get that lunch buffet in on the sail away day or whatever.
All I know is we've got a bourbon tasting on the last day, and Jason's booked himself a massage for the first night.
Okay.
He neglected to book the couples massage, so I guess I'm got to figure out my own thing. He's doing his own thing, so.
I think I'll save this discussion. We need to do in the very near future, we need to do one just on cruise so we can cover past cruise experiences, tips,
I
future
think it
ones.
Would be good for, to give me sort of the full on, like, what you would recommend for the first timer, and then as a first timer, I can give my, like, thoughts of or expectations, and of course after the fact we can sort of go through my thoughts of what it was like and that kind of thing. So more cruise stuff coming up for sure.
All right, so we'll wrap this up. If you want to find us, you can on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That is all at TWTM Podcast. We have a Spreadshirt store in which you can get your exclusive TWTM merchandise. That is shop.spreadshirt.com/TWTM Podcast. We have a YouTube channel, which I know I keep saying this every week, that I've been working on videos. Keep a lookout for that, though. We want to build that channel as much as we can. That you can just search for Traveling with the Mouse or TWTM Podcast to find that.
And if you forgot what John just said, you can go to our website, travelingwiththemouse.com, and you can look up links to all those things there. Our email address is podcast@travelingwiththemouse.com. travelingwiththemouse.com. And if you want to book your own Disney World, Disneyland, Disney cruise vacation, you can use our travel agent friend, Jill Dilbeck. Her email address is jilldilbeck at travelingwiththemouse.com, at gmail.com. So email her, and she might have some offers for you. So email her and find out.
For Adam, my name's John. We hope you have enjoyed this episode of Traveling with the Mouse, and we also hope you will join us on our next trip. I found a lot more reasons nowadays to consider using a travel agent than ever before.
We actually should do a whole episode on that, but we'll do that too. What did you think about Obi-Wan being moved to May 27th and having 2 episodes?
I knew I was missing something. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan.
Old Obi-Wan Kenobi.